So you thought we forgot about this book. Sadly, that's never going to be the case.
Has firmly traumatized us.
This book is firmly planted in my memory, much like the Kennedy assassination of my grandparents and 9/11 for my generation.
I'm Adam, and knowledge of this book has infected me like the AIDS blood infected that guy who abuses Linuxes into becoming a JoJo character that was thrown away.
I'm Alabaster the Unicorn, and I learned, much to my chagrin, that I inadvertently created one of these little fuckers in a game. Sad.
And I'm Randall, and I'm looking forward to this episode because there's going to be a lot of weird shit in it.
So let's begin. The Wraeththu. By this point, if you've not read the novels that inspired this game, which no one here has, you might be wondering exactly what a Har is and who the Wraeththu are. Not really. The next few sections will explain about this race of non-humans, even though they evolved from humans via AIDS blood. And they're not.
Don't think about it. Magic space age.
Wraeththu is the name of the species, and the term Har refers to an individual Wraeththu. The plural is Hara. As you would say human woman, so you would say Wraeththu Har.
An overview. The origins of the Wraeththu are unclear. In the same way that human evolution is it's kind of. There is a kind of general understanding of human evolution, but
No, you got to teach the controversy, man.
Like, even
although
when the books were written, people had a very rough idea, at the very least, given we found at least a couple of the hominini species that were our predecessors.
we at least have an idea. There's that.
We found Lucy the Australopithecus in 1970s.
No, those are just alternative theories. Haven't you ever seen Ancient Aliens? We were genetically engineered by the Akanaki to serve as gold mining slaves because that's what the guy with the weird hair on Ancient Aliens said.
That sneaky
I
little
thought
bastard also lied to your face that Puma Punktu was made with granite. No, bitch, that shit was sandstone.
second there when you thought you were bringing up an advanced wild-haired alien species made humans to mine gold. I was now thinking of the plot of Battlefield Earth.
It's because L. Ron Hubbard was a psychic and he knew the truth about the Akanaki. Nibiru is real.
Although they were originally derived from humans, they are no longer human in the accepted sense, as their psychological and physical makeup is very different to that of humanity, such as the nature of space aids. Therefore, direct evolution must be ruled out, unless there's a sudden leap in the evolutionary ladder,
Someone
which is
doesn't
not
know how
entirely.
biology works.
Wraeththu could be the result of an experiment in the field of genetics. However, to date, no evidence has been found to support this idea. This leaves us with an enigma.
How did this
Take,
writer manage to pass high school?
can you take it away, Randall? Because this is a lot of words, and I don't
Right.
like it.
Hera are not human, but in many ways they look similar to human beings. If you can imagine a true androgen, a creature composed of both male and female elements, that is what a Har looks like. If you gazed upon one, it might confuse your mind. One minute you may think you were looking at a very athletic Amazonian woman, the next a graceful man. Who, though possessing a female ambience, is not exactly effeminate. Wraeththu are physically toned and of perfect proportions. Literally, they're just cookie cutters.
Also, I like that the concept of androgyny blows this writer's mind. Come on, everyone's experienced that fucking problem at least at one point, right?
I got a boner looking at a picture of David Bowie. My mind is broken. Wraeththu may behave very much like humans in certain situations, which may mislead an onlooker into thinking they are human. However, despite appearances, they should be regarded as a completely different species, unlike those stupid, filthy human jackasses who made fun at me at the lunch table and threw mashed potatoes at me, even alien in origin. The perception of Wraeththu as non-humans will make these sections more understandable, if not more acceptable. For example, there is only one gender among Wraeththu.
By the way, fun fact, I actually know this. The reason why usually more than one gender was not accepted, but propagated via evolution was it allows you to shuffle the gene deck, if you will. If you only have one gender, that means that you all have the same gene packet, which actually makes you more susceptible to viruses and other diseases because when you shuffle the gene deck, it makes viruses harder to latch onto you.
So what you're basically saying in layman's terms is that the Wraeththu are horribly inbred.
They're less
Yep.
evolutionarily fit.
Oh, Adam, you're gonna have fun with that. Uh, let's see. Wraeththu are creatures with both Ona and Sume. Sexual. It looks like it looks like shitty, not Japanese.
Oh, you
This
also
looks like
forgot that the concept of male and female as separate entities mean nothing to them, even though they started lives as humans. So, okay.
also Uuna and Somi sound like Pokemon regions. A shitty ROM hack version, but Pokemon regions nonetheless.
They sound like
Wraeththu.
very bad Polynesian bars started by a sleazy Armenian man who's trying to use it to evade taxes.
Like all Armenians.
Wraeththu Rob hack of Pokemon, where you need to use your Pokemon to defend yourselves from the space rape, but David Bowie's. This is not uncommon. Let's see. These being their equivalent to human male and female genitalia. This is not uncommon in nature. Many creatures on Earth are biologically similar, including certain varieties of snails and some species of fish. Yeah, fuck you. Those are non sentient beings. Those are not on the level of complexity of a humans. Fuck you.
Also, in both of those cases, they split off from other elements of Animalia earlier in a lot of cases. I mean,
Other
it is more effective than just splitting off via budding like sponges do.
Other species, such as frogs, aren't strictly oh, somebody's seen Jurassic Park, but can change gender very quickly should circumstances demand it. So, as you can see, dual gender is not unknown in nature. So, I'm being completely factual and accurate. Wraeththu could well be seen as the pinnacle of evolution.
Peak evolution. I'm seeing a Wojak meme right here, right now.
There's only a problem though. They cannot do the gene shuffle. They can only duplicate themselves by infecting others with their AIDS blood. So they're not evolutionarily fit.
In that, as long as they have access to another heart, they can always find a suitable mate, should they ever find a way to reproduce. Oh.
That means that they're a dead end. They're what you call an evolutionary dead end.
It's the masters again. What we've run over previously. It's the masters problem.
So here's the thing that most people forget: that when it comes to a creature's effectiveness, evolution doesn't sort by strength or qualities such as smarts. They sort by what makes you most likely to be alive. And if the traits that allow you to stay alive are you're dumb, fat, and weak, your species will be dumb, fat, and weak. And that does happen. Like a lot of domesticated animals, to some degree, they are selected to have more infantile looks because that's seen as cute. It's a weird thing. Oh, and pigeons were trained to be dumb because.
I'm not surprised. So, Adam, do you want to take over reading the rest of this page, or
Oh,
should
hell
we
yeah.
skip
I
over
don't
to
mind.
30?
Most creatures
All
that
right.
use sexual reproduction to continue their species are unable to control impregnation naturally. Some believe that Wraeththu could be sterile and therefore need no control. They maintain the species via the act of inceptions, whereby Wraeththu blood is transfused into a human with a Naki? What the fuck? Just, yeah, throw that term. Don't explain it. And the recipient undergoes vast physical, mental, and spiritual changes. Translation: their flesh falls off and they're in agony for 2 days as their body mutates.
Don't forget, then they get butt fucked by a flower dick.
Oh yeah, and their penis falls off or their vagina grows into a horrible eldritch thing.
Yeah. This
These
sounds worse than being a Slaneshi cultist, honestly.
these people were rejected by Slanesh as a failed prototype. These changes are then sealed by Aruna, the harsh term for sexual intercourse. So, your flesh falls off, you're racked with agony, your eyes explode out of your head, your body hideously mutates into this basically anime form, and then you have to forcibly be raped by the thing that gave you the AIDS blood.
Welcome to Wraeththu!
How is this person not in prison?
Because it's the literature, it's a literary clause. It's not real. Therefore, it's not real.
The other major physical differences are the Wraeththu immune system, metabolism, and ability to heal, all of which are superior to humans. How?
Because the author says so. Mary shows.
The Harish immune system is capable of withstanding all known toxins and poisons that affect the human body detrimentally. Oh, so they have a super active liver then. It reduces the long-term effects of intoxicants and narcotics. That's not the immune system, that's your fucking liver, you idiot. As the body metabolizes and expels all unwanted substances quickly. Oh god, they wander around pissing everywhere like rats.
Oh God.
Fucking disgusting. A hard can get drunk, but it is unlikely to have a bad hangover the next morning. How convenient.
Oh, yeah, of course. They gotta be the cool, popular kids getting down, getting the booze. I never was. They all threw their cafeteria mashed potatoes at me, but yeah.
You know, the thing about that is that also means a hard can also die of alcohol poisoning mechanically. Because to get
that
drunk, you actually need to be able to have a certain amount of alcohol in the system, which means their liver, yeah, maybe it's more hyper, but that's not good enough to not prevent yourself from dying from it. It also probably means other poisons can kill them.
Yeah. It says no known human ones that affect humans, but there's probably poisons that would affect their specific immune system,
Oh,
much
I
like the
imagine
other.
cyanide would still kill them because that's a universal killer in some respects.
Uh, I've actually, since I've read through this, I can confirm that one of the tribes is like, their thing is they can make poisons that hurt Wraeththu, which I assume is they just grab everything under the kitchen sink and throw it in a vial.
Oh yes, the drainer vaccine, as I call it, where you just fill a syringe full of fucking Drano and just inject it in.
The Wraeththu are able to digest faster and much more efficiently than humans. Like a cheetah, their bodies regulate food intake and keep them at peak physical condition. Even though cheetahs are very sprint animal, and
That means their stamina is trash.
yeah, they're
Ironically, they are now what you call an ambush predator, unlike humans, which are more like dogs in that they're stamina predators.
although you might come across a starved hard due to circumstances and environment, you'll never come across an obese one, much like the author. Or if you did, there would have to be a very unusual reason for it, like they couldn't taste all the alcohol and
So,
then
fun
try to drink
fact:
some.
if their metabolism was that high, God, so many of them would die of starvation.
It'd be like shrews. That's why they are rape bandits. They need to keep moving and devouring everything in their path, or they'll die of starvation.
Also, with that high metabolism, wouldn't you also die very quickly too?
Having a high metabolism does usually mean that your body's a little more fragile. Like, to give you an idea, like, stress can kill creatures that have metabolism that high. Like, shrews actually can legit die from stress.
Mental faculties of horror are far superior to humans,
Of
unlike
course.
the author. Wraeththu will have far greater clarity of thought. Why not? Mentally, they're much more stable. Why? At peace with their inner selves, even though they're horribly violated. There's no gender conflict or misunderstanding because you're all the same fucking type. You're all fucking Borg beings or anxiety about attaining sexual partners because you have incest rape with each other.
Also, it's because that they're a dying race, basically.
Some
Oh my
Wraeththu
god. This is a fucking incel. This is a fucking incel manifesto.
It really is, and it's glorious. That's why
some
I wanted us to continue.
some rape Thulu tend to adopt the roles of more masculine or feminine disposition, but when this occurs, it's a mere echo of their former humanity and something to be discouraged in rape Thulu kind in general. Visibly, horror do not need to segregate themselves into gender groups, as essentially they're all the same.
That's a very interesting way to make everyone feel not special.
Okay, let's read. I'm going to read some of the quotes. It is well that I did not tell those humans the truth, for I am not a ghost, but a thing of flesh and blood. Perhaps their blades could have killed me, but I only know this. And this quote, which is great. Let's fuck the fucking fuckers.
Big boy words.
Yanis Sale, Ugandan scavenger. The only apparent drawback of Harish physiology is their physical and mental need for sex. This activity appears to give them new vigor and vitality. Should they spend too many weeks without it, they will deteriorate both mentally and physically until they have Arona again. So basically, if they don't fuck, they blue ball themselves into desiccation. Brilliant.
This is what incels actually believe. Did fucking Elliot Rogers write this?
This condition can manifest as a violent mood swings and a general air of disagreeability. At times, a general appearance of fatigue sets in. This is believed to be because during Aruna, two Hera will swap spiritual energy, or splooge, as they refer to as an essence, splooge. This mutual exchange essence enhances the well-being condition of their participants.
Translation, the author is legitimately screaming that they're angry that they do not have sex. And unlike vampires, which legitimately need blood or else they become ravenous, monstrous corpse things, these things have to fuck, or else they just become incels even more.
Let's see. Should we skip ahead to page 30?
Yeah, do we care about the language of America?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. I saw something about GNP, but who cares?
Oh my God! Look at that page 30. That the art coming up next is great.
Is that may or may not be Araki's rejected idea for doing Dracula for a Castlevanian game?
Oh god, I could totally see that. Oh, and more great quotes. So you're telling me you saw a horse and it was flying? See who your dealer is. I want some of that shit you smoke. From Dag Viking, Yukon. Great name. Great
Dag
name.
Viking. Oh my god, these who comes up with these names? Like, where do they come up with these awful ideas for names?
Well, it comes out of an orifice. then 3 guesses which orifice that is.
Well, given that I don't think the writer is human, I'm assuming that it's from their cloaca.
Oh no.
Let's see. Inception. Inception to Wraeththu can involve a lengthy and elaborate series of rituals and actions, during which a human is given a transfusion of Wraeththu blood, which initiates changes with their DNA and mutates them into an AIDS vampire.
For a second there, I thought I saw larva, which that would have been equally funny. Like they just become a giant worm.
I'm evolving! Blah, 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 blah.
They just become a worm that walks.
This procedure, in essence, could be undertaken quickly without any spiritual aspect being involved. And in many cases, during the early years of Wraeththu history, this was often the case. But over time, as each tribe has developed their own spiritual ideas and systems, this procedure has evolved to include highly structured, mystical, and magical aspects.
Better than humans, still at the tribal level when humanity was not. Okay.
Brilliant.
Inception is a rite of passage, and even though the physical mutation guarantees this will be a traumatic
Their flesh falls off!
Most tribes also incorporate other initiatory aspects of sacrifice, such as the shekorm, ritual cutting of hair, and or various pledges and vows. Almost every tribe requires the inceptee to state aloud that they come to the inception of their own free will, optimistic, although many
Bullshit.
have criticized this as hypocrisy in view of the fact that no inceptee, once aware of what they are getting into, would be allowed to change their.
What's the fucking point then? Especially given that you started by kidnapping children and ripping their skin off via face aids. Space aids. Jesus, this book is making me slur.
Quite often, when an inceptee has resisted the process, inception has taken place by force.
Gotta love getting raped by space vampires.
Let's see. With Wraeththu having less and less need to hide from humanity, this is rapidly becoming a non-issue, convenient, and some humans wishing to become horror. Yes, the traitors.
I just love how they have to brush that fucking skeleton back into the closet.
All right. More made up, not Japanese. Let's skip to physiology. 34 on the
Okay.
PDF.
Skip all this horse shit. Here we go. Wraeththu Physiology. This is going to be fun to read. Biologically, Harish and human functions appear similar to the untrained observer, but many basic human design faults or weaknesses are absent in the Harish form. So they don't have an appendix. They don't have a. Spleens are useful though. This is where the evolution argument breaks down, because such significant changes in an organism are very rare, though not impossible.
So what they're saying is that the Wraeththu were intelligently designed.
By a very stupid creator, yeah.
This is God. This is God on a drunk bender decide to make a race. And
This
he
is
regretted it
a very thirsty and angry middle-aged housewife that wrote a bunch of failing books. That's what God is, apparently. It might be that evolution was initiated by some unknown outside force. Yeah, being raped by space vampires. Written by a very bad author. It is also possible that Hara were mutated by a disease or some earthly element that has come to light, since the tectonic activity and natural disasters have been commonplace in recent years.
What?
Oh, remember how the world itself is actively murdering humans for some reason?
Oh no, that sentence. It is also possible that Hara were mutated by a disease or some earthly element that has come to light since the tectonic act. What?
Oh,
What is this grammar?
so what happened here was the writer seems to have
It's like he
missed a middle portion of their explanation. Their own brain had a minor stroke when they fucking wrote this. Makes sense. I've been having minor strokes this entire time. Appearance. Hara on average are fairly tall. The shortest Hara is generally about manlet size, 5'8". It has since been noted that a Hara 5'3" who was incepted at the age of 17 years, who gives a shit, grew 2 inches during, no one knows what that word is, and continued to grow after his transformation was complete. After 6 months, his height was measured at 5'11". No one cares. He would not have attained this height had he remained human, even given that his growth period at 17 was not quite complete. The tallest Hara are around 6'7". Oh, so they are shorter than humans on not complete average, but humans have higher averages than that. Like, it's pretty easy to find people in the 7-foot category.
Yeah, you can easily find people in the 6'6" category.
I mean, for fuck's sake, I'm about the height of the tallest Hara there. I'm a little shorter, but not by much. Hara generally do not have a great deal of body hair on the arm, legs, and chest, because that shit's gross, according to the author's tastes, which reflects their androgynous conditions. She likes them when they're young. However, the hair on the head grows vigorously, and the humans who are in the early stages of pattern baldness when they were incepted experience a regrowth of hair almost immediately. Someone's bitter.
Facially, Hara retain characteristics of the ethnic group from which they were incepted. However, during rape, it's almost as if they moved to some perfect template of their type. It's the perfect Mexican, the perfect black
Mexican.
Mexicano superior. There is sometimes some alteration of skin tone, which also appears uncanny to steer the new Hara to some desired archetype. It's whitewashing, literal. Those of dark skin pigments become darker. So are they like they descend from Vulcan or something?
So it's either descending from Vulcan or they're following that old meme of La Luz Extinguishado.
No, they just mutated to racial characters.
Oh my god. The color more intense, sometimes even acquiring subtler undertones of other shades, such as purple and gold, aka JoJo's characters.
Speaking of which, see it?
He looks like Diavolo. Looks like Diavolo had. This was Diavolo's failed concept size, by the way.
I'm just now getting the vision of this fat, dumpy weirdo who's balding is just digging through Araki's trash to just steal fucking pictures to put in his book.
Other Hara might lose almost all skin pigment. The instance of true albinos is rare. Most of the palest Hara tend to have very dark eyes.
So they do have true albinism. That means that their genetic code isn't fucking perfect now, is it?
Magic.
Inception to certain tribes and parts other stranger characteristics, like multiple penises. The hair of the clitorises is said to possess magical properties. There have been reports of some isolated tribes producing Hara whose skin tones have greenish or bluish tone.
Oh no, they've been drinking colloidal silver again.
They're basically turning into Shrek and the Genie.
Wraeththu game, but the characters are all Shreks.
This would be great. I would play that, where it's Shrek's Bizarre Adventure.
So Donkey's a stand?
Yes. Or would Donkey be the stand user? No, he would be the stand user. Donkey is an intelligent donkey that uses Dragon as his stand. This is how it works.
Obviously, the Shrek stand would be my swamp, and it's a giant onion.
The swamp.
No, his stand is an onion. It's just a giant onion.
All right, Adam or Randall, can you tell us about how agile these little fuckers are?
Let's see. Agility. Another Another thing that they're better than humans at.
We're better than you.
Hara are generally far more agile than humans, but this is mainly due to the fact that their physiology enables them to remain far fitter than the average human, since they can run extremely fast, leap impressively both in height and distance, and and most Hara possess quick reflexes. Superior muscle structure and bone joints to humans.
No, you just have a shit ton of fast twitch muscle fibers, which means your stamina's trash.
The muscles have become much denser, which makes them stronger and able to function more efficiently.
Translation: we gain this physique of a bodybuilder, but we could still sit on our asses and eat ho-hos all day.
As Hara has less bulk of muscle tissue they become more agile.
So wait, they have less bulk, but their muscles are dense.
They have
How the fuck
swimmers'
does he don't?
physiques.
I mean, some swimmers aren't necessarily the most muscular. They may not look the most muscular, so they're gonna actually. You're kind of gonna go look somewhat a little fatty.
But no, that interferes with my fantasy.
Funny thing, people. If you look at real people that have more functional muscles, which I mean, not those like that you like bodybuilders who will fast a few days to give themselves that chiseled look. Most people that are physically fit are gonna look. They're gonna look a little chunky, seemingly, before you realize that they're very strong.
To give you an idea, that's kind of what Kingpin is a good example of that as a comic character.
Many football players are also a great example of this.
Similarly, a Hara's bone are also slightly denser to accommodate the more efficient muscle structure. The cartilage that secures and holds the joints together is much more elastic and hard-wearing, and the junction between two bones now moves more freely and less susceptible. Basically, you're fuck you.
No, that actually is a bad thing because that's similar to Guillain-Barré syndrome, where I think that's the disease, where your ligaments actually are more likely to pop out of your body.
Oh God!
That means
Ugh.
that if they trip or fall, they have to readjust their goddamn bones regularly.
So you're saying if they get shellacked with anything like a war hammer or anything like that, these fuckers are beyond.
I'm also going to highlight that the reason that you do not feel joint pain when your bones move is not because of the cartilage in between them. That does help. It's the synovial fluid. So theirs is just as fallible as ours. So they're still susceptible to arthritis. It's just the effects won't be as crippling.
No, it's my magic. Yeah. Let's see.
Also, denser bones. Good luck fixing that shit when in the rare cases they break.
Little training, Hara can emulate the moves of a professional human gym. Literally just, fuck you, we're better at everything.
We want easy gains, but without the training. They're literally that couch potato that envisions, oh god, I would love to be this gymnast or this fucking bodybuilder. And this game allows them to play their sad fucking fantasy in their dumpy ass garage.
Skip up to Gabriel Strain's failure at genetics or DNA on page 37 of the PDF.
Sure you don't want to read about the sadness of digestion?
Why not?
It's really short, so digestion. Wraeththu digestion is not too disparate from that of humankind, although it's unknown for Hara to become overweight. Whatever amount of food is ingested. How are you not dead? If your metabolism's that fucking high, how are you not dead?
These fuckers have to be eating like almost near nonstop. They're like goddamn rats or something like that.
If I had to guess the amount of calories they need to stay healthy, it'd probably be like 8,000 or more.
So you mean they have to eat a Big Smokes order every day to stay alive?
At minimum.
That's if they're not. That's if they're just maintaining normal thing. That's not extraneous activity they likely have to do.
Yeah, that's not good. Their metabolisms are flawlessly functional, so that excess nutrients are merely excreted as waste. Oh my god. Oh. Remember, they piss like rats. They shit like hippos. Fucking jet of goo. Just right
Oh
out.
god, that's horrible.
Optimal body weight is never exceeded. So yes, they shit horrendously. Thank you for
Oh
that,
my god.
author. The thorough system cleansing. Oh, don't explain it. Also extends to most intoxicants or stimulants, but they can get drunk somehow. Okay. Narcotic effects can be experienced without lengthy side effects. Oh, that does mean that you can technically have them die of heroin overdoses. Lovely.
So they piss like rats and shit. Shit like
And for all the authors, oh, I can get all the positive of the drugs without the negatives. No, if you're getting the positive, that means you can still die of the negatives.
God.
Because
These
of
have to
this,
be.
few poisons are lethal to Wraeththu. No, I imagine if they still work, you just need more of it.
Does this mean they just shit themselves and they can avoid poisons? Is that how it works, or
Oh
do they
God,
just
is
piss them?
that might be it.
They just the metabolisms are so high that they just simply excrete the poison before it is able to absorb into the bloodstream.
It might not be via shitting, but like they sweat it out.
God, they would be some nasty.
So they're actually, the way I'm seeing it is they're kind of gross because they're covered in sweat. They pee like every 2 minutes at minimum. They poop like 18 times a day.
So they spend most of their time. They probably are like those people, like when you're on a boat, you have a piss bottle. I imagine all of them have to carry a piss jug with
No,
them
they just
everywhere.
they just they just let it go while like rats. They just let it
Oh
go
yeah,
while they walk.
because their tribal society is even shittier than most tribal societies. So that's the none of them have advanced past the whole.
The reason they don't use outhouses and poop in the woods is because they'd be stuck on there like 80% of the time. The, the certain tribes of rather unsavory. Sorry.
This is a wonderful race. They're shitting everywhere, pissing everywhere, covered in sweat. They're the magical Mary Souls. I mean, who wouldn't want to be one of them?
Does this mean that you got most people just want to just say fuck these guys and don't want to face them because they're just the horrible smell that would come from them?
That's one of the beautiful effects when you apply biology full on to what the author's explaining. You get some very unfortunate results. Though certain tribes of unsavory reputation pride themselves on their ability to concoct poisons effective against their own kind. The drain cleaner vaccine. Do we care about health and well-being in the census? Because that's basically, we're better than you.
Yeah, we're better than you, even though we piss like sailors in shit like competitive food eaters.
The only thing that's of note is that in the health and self-healing, they talk about Angamara, which is a universal life energy, so some hibbity.
Oh
So they don't
boy.
even have doctors. They just have fucking witch doctors go, the universal's life energy will heal you.
I love it.
It's like, here, I'll use my magical healing staff on them. You are cured. And he
the
just
question,
bops him with like a toilet plunger covered in feathers.
well, the question though is, with them pissing and shitting and sweating all the time, I'd imagine if one of them even gets cut, they have to be extremely susceptible to infection due to all the bacteria that has to be from it. Or are they so scud nasty they are immune to it?
They're like crocodiles. That's actually why their immune system's so good. They just brew and shit so much that's like why they're almost completely immune to most viruses and diseases. They don't necessarily kill it, but the disease doesn't affect them at all. So they're all like carriers too.
Oh god. This is I think this has made them more interesting villains than any this is kind of amazing as like a race of villains. Just utterly despicable tribal monsters.
So they're Nurgle. So this is basically Nurgleites that have been perfected.
So, well, when you apply biology to what the author describes, yes. Oh, by the way, despite apparently being mentally better than humans, mental illness is not uncommon among them.
No fucking shit when you're pissing, shitting everywhere. That's normal. The thing is that poor. One thing that usually denotes mental illness is poor toilets.
Like, for some reason, I mean, even if you take out biology and just go with the authors, they're so special, guys, depression is super common among them, as well as psychosis.
Well, of course, they had their fucking flesh melted off and got injected with a butt full of AIDS blood.
And then I got raped by one of them. How would I not have horrible psychological problems?
And when you apply the biology, it makes even more sense because now they're just constantly sweating, pissing their pants, and they just have to pop a squat like regularly. The senses, oh god, since their senses are better, they could smell their secretions
Oh god! Oh my
even
god!
more so.
Oh,
Yeah, they also have the sixth sense, so they can see dead people.
They also can see the future to a degree. You know, it'd be a neater biological thing rather than that. What if they had like an electromagnetic sense like sharks, where they can actually detect electrical activity and basically know when to avoid storms?
or they could have tremor scent. They could be like the graboids and have tremor sense or something like that.
Yeah, like they have little hairs on their feet that allow them to detect vibrations on the ground. Or how about they're like bees, where they can actually see into the ultraviolet part of the spectrum?
Like, that's a cool idea, but no, gotta have my weird sex fantasies.
By the way, out of the lot, our senses are actually kind of mediocre by most standards of species. Like our touch is pretty good. Our sight's pretty good too, actually. Hearing's okay, but our smell's pretty bad. Our hearing's like sub-average too, by the way. We have good variety of range, but the ability to detect is pretty hard. So yeah, whatever. Lifespan and aging. Wraeththu appear ageless. So they're conveniently not affected by cellular deterioration. Okay, DNA. Sorry about that. I'm gonna let others talk, or else I'm just gonna go into rambling.
DNA faculties are in short supply to perform DNA analysis, but a few of these tribes have managed to get tip. Why? Who the fuck would want to mess with this? What geneticist would want to stand more than 5 seconds with these nasty little fucks?
Here's my question: If they believe in hippity hippity, why the fuck are they going down the science path?
That is a fair point.
Like,
Many have proposed theories for what results have revealed, some of which have tainted the data, but some other aspects are in agreement. The human genome has only 4 base pairs, whereas the Harris gene has 6 base pairs.
there's
Why?
only 4 base pairs in all Earth science, so the idea that they're an alien virus makes a lot more sense when you take that into effect.
No har, no har knows why this has occurred or what physical changes has attributed to them. Not only have the base pairs increased, the amount of genetic information has been what?
Oh
What?
wow, so this person probably was a creationist because I only hear genetic information from them.
Genetic
Okay,
information.
so basically what he's talking about when they think about genetic information is the amount of genes we have. Now, with humans, a lot of our DNA is junk coding, about a third of it at least. Although we're not the worst in that. The worst of that's like there's a species of amoeba that has like 5,000 times the amount of genes that we do. It just has so much fucking junk stuck into its DNA. But there are other species that are super efficient. Like there's some flower species that actually have about maybe 1% of their DNA being junk. Junk
So,
DNA is kind of useful sometimes because it occasionally mutates into something useful, and it also gives a buffer if you suffer deletions.
yeah, that's true. So it's like a backup. So these guys, if the genetic switch would happen, are probably much more susceptible to that.
Well, I mean, they're probably more prone to mutation because more of their code's active. So if something changes, either via
Also, they're basically
deletion,
the
replication.
basically those same species. They're the same thing over and over again. So they're extraordinarily susceptible to something like
Wait a minute. Why are we talking about that? They can't breed, so they're stuck with the same basic pattern.
So that means they face the Star Wars clones problem. So that way that anyone figures out how to specifically target their code, they're all fucked.
I'm just now envisioning the author just stamping their feet and screaming, "It's supposed to be about they're better than humanity. It's magic. Come on, goddammit, just get to the point. Stop talking about sci-fi."
Many, speaking of that, many horror theorize this, even though there are a bunch of Ooga Booga tribals, that there was a lot of redundant material in the human genome which has somehow disappeared. It might also be having 6 base pairs instead of 4 has made the information contain much more dense and efficient. Fuck you. The ribosome, key to how the genome works, is also radically different to that of a human. Why? The
Well, I mean,
key.
it's because it's what you call the DNA reader. If it has to read another 2 sets of peptides that have been invented and added into their code, their ribosome would have to change to actually be able to read it. Because I imagine they still undergo cell division, so you still need it.
Yeah, the key decodes the DNA. Basically, at the end of this, they're better than everyone else for some reason. On to
A
psychology,
more
Randall.
complex ribosome? Really? That doesn't do anything. It's only more complex in the sense that it has to read 2 more fucking peptide chains.
It's magic. Forget about it. Psychology. Wraeththu do not think exactly like humans, but as they evolved from human stock, Hara still share many of their predecessors' traits. Older Wraeththu are slowly losing their more human aspects as they become assimilated into the hive mind. And we can imagine a time in the future where the old human ways of thinking have been completely wiped from the Wraeththu side. This is some dystopian shit.
I gotta love the. I can't wait until humanity's dead because they mocked me.
like I'm just
I don't blame you. It's baffling.
This is really bad, honestly.
I'm having a blast though because I just love throwing in reality ensues into their fucking fanfiction.
sorry about that.
This is not. Can we put? This is not reality.
This is not reality. Not reality. Not reality.
I'm going insane.
Let's see. Attitude towards humanity. The remnants of the human race are generally perceived as inferior, but not necessarily as a lesser form of life that needs to be wiped out. So they're not all Nazis, apparently.
Also, love the author accidentally revealing that he wishes all of humanity would be dead.
The majority of Hara regard humans in the same way a human might regard an animal, as having equal rights to live upon this planet. Most humans respect animals, even though they don't possess the same intelligence and abilities as a human. Adam, could you take over for the next paragraph? I need a drink.
Yeah, so despite the fact that there seems to be no real difference between the two, that's kind of hypocritical horseshit, and it reveals that the writer also wants to murder people probably, but knows they'll get in trouble. Some Wraeththu hunt humans for sport. Oh, lovely. While others try to preserve what is left of human culture and lifestyle. Whatever their viewpoint, every Har can see that humans suffer great inner conflict between their masculine and feminine aspects.
What? So basically, they're slaughtering people just because they want people to become an androgynous, uh, with no discernation, no uniqueness, no diversity. We all must conform to the same aspect.
These guys are literal fucking Nazis.
These are the type of people that would probably kill a Starbucks employee for accidentally calling them sir or ma'am.
But no, think about it. They were everybody who isn't one of us is a lesser being. They they're all obsessed with this is the new culture. the ways of old must be
So
wiped out and
so they
replaced.
also have aspects of Maoist China in there too.
It's actually a lot closer to the Nazi way of point of view, where it is our time now. We must expand our control over the world, and the old ways must die, except for those that we like. These people are these Hara are disgusting, and the author is a weirdo that wants to be one of them.
The Hara Hara frown upon this black and white perspective of this world because they'd end up way in the black.
Also, isn't it
However,
weird that these creepy writers seem to think that the world is still 1952?
uh, you know what? I think that has a lot to do with their childhood.
I don't even think then. I think it's just they're angry that they can't just be rewarded for doing nothing.
These individuals are now beginning to attain an inner harmony similar to that achieved by blah blah blah. Uh, on the whole, Wraeththu don't hate humans, but regard the two species as essentially different and biologically incompatible.
That's why you abduct people and infect them with AIDS blood to make more of you.
But wait, don't you need humans around so that you can continue your species in a parasitic manner?
No. You see, the Wraeththu nations are gonna set aside Madagascar as a human preserve, and they're gonna, they'll be allowed to live.
Nice reference to the Jewish resettlement program that Hitler and gang came up with.
I thought it was Zimbabwe you want to resettle.
Oh no, that was there was an older British proposal that suggested that some of the Ugandan highlands and the Kenya highlands would be given to the Jewish people.
What?
Well, actually, that area of Africa is pretty nice by standards. It's actually somewhat similar to European climate, so it wasn't an eat a dick move. Like, yeah, they had to kick out the other Africans, but this was the time when they thought, oh, they're inferior anyway. We're bringing our light of civilization.
At least the British, say what you will, tried to bring the light of civilization. They didn't try to extinguish it.
Well, I don't know. They also invented entire tribes of Indians to farm tea.
This is
Yeah.
true. This is true. And we did destroy an entire nation with opium. But that's besides the point.
We also completely slaughtered the Tasmanian Aborigine population.
Hey, at least we're not the Belgians.
Yeah. That should be in quotes.
At least we're not the Belgians.
A little picture of King Leopold next to it.
King Leopold II, Electric Boogaloo.
A guy that's so hated in the Congo that the Belgians gave them a statue, they instantly just destroyed it in a mass orgy of violence. Oh, God.
Let's see, some blah blah blah. As they think, okay, some are far from sympathetic about this inability to understand and tend to despise it, as they think that humans aren't just trying hard enough or don't want to understand anything that negates their own sense of superiority and self-importance.
What?
But from what I've seen, like, based on what the Hara are, I'm not seeing a massive improvement over humanity. The only difference is since they don't have gender roles, and even then, to give you an idea, I have a mindset that's way more alien than that. That's still from humanity. Did you know that the Aborigines actually do not have a concept of time?
They don't? That's kind of
They
that's
believe
kind of
in the
weird.
present and then what they call the ever time, which is they do not have a past or future. They just believe in the present, and everything else is part of the ever time, both past and future. They see they see the world as still being created every day, as demonstrated by lightning from the lightning man, mother water, stick man, all those weird things. They don't have a
Damn.
past or future concept,
I mean, that is interesting.
which is way more alien than the bullshit that I have read from the Hara. And these are people. So because of that, I'm not seeing I'm not seeing any mental difference aside from an inflated sense of superiority brought about by the fact that their biology is a lot more toned to fast twitch muscles.
By author Fiat.
Even though Wraeththu are physically and psychologically superior to humans.
That's why depression and psychosis is more common in their population than humanity.
Not all of them have the ability to comprehend their inner selves. It might be that certain Hara still mistrust their inner voice, or else fear the truth of what they might discover within themselves. Are we the baddies?
I'm a horrible rapist and I enjoy it. Oh my god.
That inner voice is, are we the monsters? And it usually comes about when they just realize they pissed their pants for the 8,000th time.
It's like ripping off some random woman's head, shitting down her neck hole, like
eating her legs while you're peeing on their corpse. Because
Just going-
again, their biology mandates that they have to excrete regularly. They're covered in a fucking sheen of sweat.
they're like, wait, maybe we're the bad guys.
The thing is, if they sweat all the time, don't they have to drink a lot of water or they'll become dehydrated almost immediately?
Yeah.
They just haul around like, you know those big jugs that they put on water coolers? They just have like 10 of those strapped to their back.
They have they have the camelback, like the guy like from the movie The Photon Effect. So he basically has to have one of those camelbacks on, and he's always sucking on that tube.
I was thinking more along the lines of they got Schmitty Werben Jagerman Jensen's hat with the fucking soda. It's the Hara's hat, Mr. Krabs. They're better than humans.
I think that's going to be the thumbnail for this episode. Let's see. This aspect of the harsh cognitive mind seems to react in a similar manner to that of a human, and the reaction can be either that of hostility and fear, or else that of friendship and pity. Even though Hara are not immune to dysfunction of the type, the incident is becoming less common as time goes on, because, they gotta be our magical Mary shoes. Also, when this type of imbalance occurs, it can be a sign by the application of Agmara healing and careful tuition.
They went to the witch doctor and they fucking did trepanation to remove the demons from their head. Trepanation, for those who don't know, is where you drill a fucking hole in the head to let the bad demons out.
So basically, so their medicine's actually worse than BillyWitchDoctor.com?
Well, they use what you call psychic surgery and healing, from what I understand, more than what I'm doing. I'm just highlighting that because they're really tribalistic, and I actually see them as far more backwards, just based on the writing.
You know what would be interesting for their healing is that they were psychic in nature, and they used their psychic focus to try to stimulate cellular regrowth or anything like that, or cellular mitosis to try to heal wounds a lot faster. Wouldn't that be a lot more interesting of an aspect of why they can heal a lot faster or anything like that?
Yeah, that's why
Exact
Warhammer
magic.
40k had biomancy.
Who wants to get relationships?
Sure. I want to read about how these rape goblins have relationship. Though some Hara elect to have exclusive emotional relationships with one Hara only, which are known as Chesna bonds, the idea of sexual fidelity and indeed sexual jealousy has been relegated to the past. No.
Bullshit.
No. Like, you can actually see this in animals, by the way. Even animals get that concept of jealousy. Even two Hara who are committed to a Chesna bond would see nothing wrong in either of them fucking another Hara outside that relationship. So they're a race of cucks too.
So so they're a bunch of massive sexual deviants, is what you're also telling me. Well, then again, that was already known, but I'm glad it's also been reinforced by the author.
They're part of the poly community. Oof. Wraeththu needs no, you fucking don't. You don't need sex. And an exclusive physical relationship with only one partner which inevitably would invoke jealousy and mistrust. What?
I think the authors is editorializing a bit.
They're getting through their violent and ugly divorce, I guess.
Oh my god.
Would ultimately be. By the way, it's the writer's fault that they cheated on their fucking significant other, and I'm betting. It's like how dare I get divorced because I cheated on her or him?
No. She just found his stash of Wraeththu porn and was so creeped out. She wanted a divorce.
Would ultimately be self-destructive. Tribes such as the Laming, Kakahir, Kakarot, and the Ugandans share the rather extreme view that Hara cannot fall in love, at least not in human terms. Explain to me
literal
how they are a
sociopath.
more intellectually superior race then, if they actually can't form social
So
bonding.
they basically like vampires from the world of darkness, even though it's very stated that vampires, though they have many things, are basically in a fight to not become mindless killing monsters.
It's really impressive where you can see where this weirdo ripped off Vampire the Masquerade. Infatuation and crushes are quite common, states which are referred to jokingly by the term kilos. Hara who are Chesna, this is just turning into a fucking joke. How many made up words can we use? Might set up home together, travel together, and in most cases be inseparable. But they would still maintain an open view on taking other partners for fucking. Ahar would refer to his Chesna partner as his Chesnari.
What? This sounds like a Pokemon.
This is just turning into. Remember in Half in the Bag where Mike was talking to Jay about like using all of the terms from John Carter without explaining it? Where it's like John Carter of Jasum gets transplanted to Barsum, where he meets Tharks. He is then captured by the Jeddak of Tarkus, and is along with him his Kalat Wula go to rescue Princess Deja Thoris from Helium against the Zodongos. Being led by oh shit,
Which one was
led by
more?
Sabthon along with the Holy Hecador, known as oh god, I forget his name. But like that's where we're getting to. Just throwing these terms with no one understanding.
Yeah, I wish there was like with World of Darkness, you know what they have whenever they have terms. They're usually simple to understand. They at the early parts they have a table of things to where certain terms in the book you can understand what these terms mean. This
That
book has nothing of the sort.
that fucking feeling when Varg Vikernes' own work, My Farag, actually does this better than these guys. The murderous weirdo who burned a fucking ancient Norwegian church and murdered a man is more competent than this person. Okay. Chesnari, who have been together for some time, develop a strong psychic bond and are able to communicate easily both emotions and thoughts. Interestingly, it seems that even Hari, who have ended a Chesna bond, can still share a psychic connection. Oh, so they can actually be better social creatures than people, because they can talk to each other in their minds like a Skype call.
The young, who the Wraeththu love to rape.
I'm gonna say that we should probably skip ahead to the really weird stuff on 41.
Okay.
This is fairly boring.
Well, there's a child abducting tribe, the Colorastes.
Let's go with this.
Okay, where is this on?
41?
38.
Tribes such as the colonoscopy prefer to incept the young rather than adult humans.
So they abduct children.
The observation of their behavior with their inceptees give them much insight to how Hara will behave as adults, should reproduction ever become possible.
By the way, I am sorry, viewers, but I accidentally got lost in this book. I am so sorry. I'm still scrolling. Here we go, young. So where were we going, Randall? I just wanted to highlight that there is a tribe of child abductors.
41.
Thank you.
First thing on page 40, we need to show off that amazing artwork.
Hey, it's one of Iraqi's rejected Pillarman designs.
Why is he wearing those such high, like basically clown boots, along with his funky getup?
Fucking mall katana. Jesus Christ.
No, I like the most is, you remember that one pamphlet made by that Oklahoma state government official who was
God.
in trouble with the law? Was trying to run for election and basically accused his opponent of enabling like pedophiles.
Are we
This
going to be
guy,
on our
this looks like a remastered version of what he sees as a homosexual, right down to the toga. Insert picture of what I'm talking about here, just to show you what I mean.
Anyways, are we gonna be on Arena while we look at this other amazing artwork that looks like he's basically David Bowie's early concept work for the his thing about the Wizard King, the Goblin King from Lab.
No way,
no,
it's Baldwin the Fourth, the king with leprosy in Kingdom of Heaven,
Oh my god!
combined with a heretical White Scar space marine.
Oh my
No,
god!
I was gonna say it's Leatherface's Halloween costume.
Oh my god, he does. The hair does remind me of Leatherface, and the mask
look at it.
too.
And he also has a lazy eye.
Wait, is it a mask? Is he wearing, or is it or is that just his derped up face?
I think it is his derped up face, but the shading makes it look like it's metal.
No, look at that fucking lazy eye on the right.
Yeah, I see.
Yerp.
Don't you like his broken chicken arm?
Oh, okay. Okay, why does he have like three? Why does it look like he has three chicken claws on his back? I mean, I know that's made to look cool, but it looks dumb.
He lost his arm
Surprising.
in a wood chipper accident.
Ariana, anal sex.
Breeding.
Anal sex is the Wraeththu code for sexual union. Among Hara, it is indulged to be either for pleasure, the intimate communication of bodies and minds that all Hara need for spiritual contentment, or to achieve a specific result with a what the fuck, or ritual sex.
Grisicon, I imagine that's just Guro. I don't know. Just call it Guro until we know, because this dipshit of a writer can't fucking have an idea. Why do you not have, like, before this? Here are some terms you need to know.
The word Arana came from very early in Wraeththu history. The Velisarius of khakis is believed to have coined the term. Fuck these makeup terms.
So Belisarius just had a stroke and went, and they just thought that was sex. Like, he was stroking out while orgasming, and that's what they thought he described.
He died before Belisarius died of autoerotic asphyxiation. He put kakakar. Initially among the Uganda, sex was often for humans simply a means of physical gratification.
That feeling when the Ugandans are the most normal of the Hara tribes.
Don't you realize that the whole purpose of sex is to, reproduce, and that it being pleasurable actually helps encourage species to reproduce?
Yep.
That's
also,
called genetics, jackass.
There's also the fun fact that the reason why the female orgasm exists in the first place was a mild accident that actually was kept because it made it more likely for reproduction to occur.
Yes, it was only more scholarly Hara were incepted until the phenomenon was examined in depth. So basically, those who are beyond shitting those who decided that they wanted to shit in a hole are the ones that started examining this. Because I imagine most of them have a probably sub 60 IQ.
I forgot that we made them mentally challenged too. Like the virus eats away 30 IQ points.
Belisarius was incepted in the Uganda, but despite the chaotic ways of his tribe, realized there's far more to sexual what the fuck, sexual congress? Does this mean that we have delegates how to for propositions how to fuck
Just imagine
between?
all those old senile people we elected into Congress in a massive orgy, and that is what sexual congress is.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Fuck you, Adam. Between Hara and the need to scratch the reproduce among, or sorry, it all runs together.
Yeah,
Initially, he
it
did
does it a
not think
lot.
that Hara could reproduce among themselves, which brought into the question the whole need for the sexual experience at all. Various Velosaurus performed autopsies on the Hara killed in combat, even though he had no medical knowledge whatsoever. From his
Wait, so
pioneer.
I can cut up people I don't like and pretend it is research?
This sounds like a Barry. Did Barry become one of these horrifying things?
Oh god.
They call Barry Velisarius, so I get to cut up people and don't get in trouble. Okay, then I call it
It's just so weird and
science.
alien. That, no, he's still a human, but that he looks so alien and non-human that they thought he was one of them.
His
And thus
personality
Barry.
was so off-putting that.
Oh, you must be one of us. You must be one of us.
Of course, I am one of you. Ha 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 ha. Now, can I go into your basement now?
Can I do the cut up face on people? Ha ha ha. All right. Though through practicing ancient tantric techniques, the art of sexual magic. What?
So basically, they're going for the ultimate new age meme of just being so sex starved that they actually read the Kama Sutra to get off.
Barry saw the sex between Hara was a dynamic spiritual force, an energy created by that could be used and directed to affect reality in a way that's far way stronger than most experts of human tantric practitioners could have imagined. What?
I imagine
What?
in the modern age, this writer just masturbates every day, hoping his tantric energy just causes Trump to stroke out in his sleep and die.
It was.
No, he has like a big mayo jar in the corner of his room where he,
He
yeah, it's
has a
for storing my
fuck
my tantric sexual energy.
He hasn't replaced that fuck jar since Obama was in office.
So
it's
basically he's like Butters from the episode Sarcastable. It was Barry who first saw the need to remove sexuality from the realm of gross physical needs and to elevate it to spiritual status, which he termed anal. Barry and some like-minded Hara that he deceived were an instrument in discovering that Arana is what fixes Inception and is kind of sustenance for Hara kind in general.
So I have mutilated and killed several of your people. I mean my people, and I have found that you somehow need sex to live. This is strange.
Can you keep on having sex so I can keep cutting up other your kind? I mean others. Haha. Although Arana anal is generally regarded as a necessity for well-being, the amount of physical communion preferred varies from har to har. Some may only seek a companion once a year. Damn, good blue
Then
ball
that
in
does
that
mean
way.
sex is not needed. Then that
Yeah.
does mean it's not needed.
Others may yearn for our anal several times a week, so
These
they have a
people are
sex
called rapists.
addiction. The female or the passive role in Arna is known as Sono Chino Sa.
Also,
actual-
wait, why do they have a female term then? Is there a passive role? Why is that feminine?
Wouldn't it be interesting if they were kind of like that, but they eventually adapted to a male or more female personality? But then we're just plain changelings at that point, which changelings are a much better race than these little fuckers. It is not important whether a har enjoys performing, being a power bottom or bitch top. Most swapped and changed their roles for recording their mood or for a second there, I thought it said circumference for some. All right,
oh boy, Randall, we're getting into the tentacle pornography.
Randall, this is your time. Take us away with sexual organs.
Sexual organs. Every har possesses both masculine and feminine sexual organs, which are in many ways different to that of humanity. while also possessing certain similarities. I'm using the voice that I imagine the author sounds like.
I was thinking more. This was a guy who wrote it, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking more like every heart possesses both like with a heavy breathing.
Well, I gotta make it like actually legible.
True.
I own a limb. When when aroused, the masculine organ of the heart resembles a pedaled rod, sometimes of deep and varied colors.
Oh god, their
Oh
dick becomes
no!
a fucking flower.
Oh no! They're using the British spelling.
But they're American. They're fucking traitors. We gotta purge them. We gotta purge them.
Damn Tory bastards!
Throw these bastards into the Boston Harbor like we did their tea.
Oh wait a minute. Their editing house was British, so they probably were the one that did that.
Imagine some poor British bastard had to go through all this. It's like, oh, this is right wank, this is, but it's still got to edit it. Such is the nature of trying to feed the family. Cheery.
This is some right boat. This is some right shite. And then he gets to page 42. You what, mate?
It possesses the Una limb possesses an inner tendril which only emerges when simulated by the feminine organs of another heart prior to the climax of any runic activity.
They have a fucking
Wait.
tentacle inside their flower dick that just comes out and wiggles.
Question. This is supposed to be stuff you're supposed to do a live action role play with. So do you live action role play this fucking like in the clear daylight or something?
Oh, whoa, what's this?
I'm just now imagining some weirdo actually has a replica model of what the Oana limb looks like. And they strap it on. They go to their fucking LARP. And then when they simulate Aruna, they just pull down their pants and you see that horrifying flower dick with the eldritch tendril come out of it.
Oh, the
It's like some
pre-com
Frank Henenlotter shit.
The pre-com from the Aona limb at this time possesses healing and euphoric property of fucking LSD com.
They have peyote. They have peyote nectar for spooge.
There are 7 energy centers found within the Aona limb, which correspond to the 7 main energy centers or chakras within the body's torso and head.
A translation: I am a new age hippie that does not know the basic concepts of Buddhism or Hinduism, but I stole this.
Experienced heart can utilize these energy centers to intensify runic energy during GrisCon, or else to heighten pleasure.
So, fun fact, if you want to get an example of how stupid this is, there is a channel on YouTube called Spirit Science that actually talks about something just like that, only they call it onking. Because the ancient Egyptians apparently found a way to redirect the sexual energy released back into their body, which amplifies it.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that previous sentence that in this book, I'm pretty sure that the authors used that as a pickup line. Hey baby, I'm an experienced heart, and I can utilize my energy centers to intensify my runic. Oh god, the pepper spray!
Well, actually, I was gonna let you continue and then go, lol, no way, fag.
As in human males.
I don't want to say yet anymore. I just kind of feel a little bit dead inside.
That's the normal reaction to having Aruna.
As in human males, Hara possesses 2 testes, but these retracted to the body cavity when a heart takes a somber feminine role in Aruna. The on a limb too shrinks during these occasions, and then most resemble a dense many-petaled flower on the surface of the body.
I like how they just have a flower dick. And I like how their balls literally go into their body cavity.
Somelam.
Actually, this
The
does make them all dudes, by the way, since they don't actually have ovaries, apparently. Because the point of the testes and ovaries are actually the same thing. It's just the chromosomes determine what it is built into. It starts as a clump of cells, and then it differentiates based on the chromosome being X or Y.
Somelam. Behind the masculine organs lies the somelam, similar in some respect to a female generative. What? In
The
that,
vagina!
in that it is a self-lubricating passageway into the body.
You know, it's also a self-lubricating passageway. The asshole.
Interior of the somelam is pleated or furrowed, but all elastic to accommodate the stiffened petals of an homolim.
Oh god, it's like cat sex. Ugh.
like
Why did you get
like
inspired by your cat's bristle dick, you fucking weirdos?
it could be worse. He could have had a pet duck.
That's what the tendril was.
It could be also like turtles as well.
Oh god, that's why they have that fucking tendril. It's a corkscrew tentacle.
Like the masculine organ, it possesses several energy centers, although only 5 of them are accessible during normal Aruna.
See that, women? You're inferior. You only get 5 of them. Biology is
Hypodexa
sexism.
Kala, some guy, the Silth researcher, says the remaining 2 must come into play during procreation. During normal Aruna, the secretions from the simulated somelam mingle with that of the onolim to create an intoxicating substance that can sometimes be hallucinogenic.
Oh god, they just eat their
Uh,
own cum. They eat their own cum to get
uh,
high. Oh god.
Why? Why, God, why?
The cumulation of Aruna often provides an extremely visionary and spiritual experience for those involved.
That's not spiritual. That's you fucking getting high off of your LSD-laced jizz.
And I'm gonna read this great quote up here. Wraeththu, our very name, is alluring. It sings of somebody having a fucking stroke.
It does sound like the last word a person says before they go comatose after a fucking bad car accident.
So who wants to get Paleki?
Pelkey. Most Hara deny the existence of Pelkey. Oh, I guess he's a very unpopular Hara. Though it undoubtedly does exist among brutalized tribes. It is the name for forced rape of either Hara or humans.
As opposed to consensual rape.
So these people are rape denialists.
What?
They deny the existence of rape. Rape doesn't exist.
It's not rape if they enjoy it.
It's not rape if they're humans or dead. The latter is essentially murder, as humankind cannot tolerate the bodily secretions of Wraeththu, which acts as a caustic poison. They literally death via acidic jizz. Jesus.
Episode title.
Pelkey to humans is always fatal. Because Aruna is such a respected and important aspect of Wraeththu life, the concept of Pelkey is both abhorrent and horrifying to the average Har. Unfortunately, certain dark powers can be accrued by indulging in these practices, which only
You
serves
can
as...
get dark powers by raping people?
They
Oh my God.
literally learn the dark magic via rape. By the way, this is the equivalent of diablerie in Vampire the Masquerade, if I had to put a thing to it. So, a dreadful temptation to Hara of a corrupt or morally decadent inclination. So I like how this entire race of pants-shitting, piss-spewing, sweaty weirdos deny rape exists. That's great.
Basically, oh, also you deny. Also, while they're having sex, they're probably pissing and shitting too. So, oh my god.
Oh, good.
No wonder they can't. No wonder they can't reproduce. So sex is when you pee in them, right?
The master race, everybody.
A master race that denies rape is real.
Do we want to call this an episode? How much do we have?
We had a fucking blast. Over an hour. We could call it here if you want.
And what do you guys think?
What else is there to say, really?
I wouldn't mind going on, but I also wouldn't mind taking the time to edit in things, because this one has a couple things I have to edit in, like, I'm not insane, as well as that one PDF by the crazy guy.
Let's call it. We'll get on with, what? Magic and shit next time.
We get to learn about how these horrible pissing and shitting sweaty savages also have a caste system, just like India.
Oh god,
So Pajit is the elite race then?
Pajit elites.
So have fun. More of this either next week, or either that or it's an Orky game.